If you're doing business with your significant other, if they have agreed to go on this rocky road with you, the bad waves are going to come. You might as well plan in some good stuff.
Hey, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Chris.
And welcome to our story. Today is going to be a really good story, and it's going to be about planning joy. And if you've watched our other videos, you know that we are in business together. We have entrepreneurship, we have jobs, and we invest in real estate long distance, and we're just doing a whole lot of stuff, and we have had to plan joy, and we wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, because we all know that the hard times are going to come. We don't need any help finding new ones.
No, we don't.
But if you're going to weather that storm, you might as well plan in some good stuff. Plan in some joyous occasions. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
And you can lead off the discussion by telling about the email that you received this morning.
It's funny. When I told you, a few days ago, I got an email. It was from one of the homeowners association. They were like, hey, code enforcement came by. They looked at the entire complex, and there's some changes that are going to be that need to be made.
Oh yeah,
and they're going to be costly.
Yes.
I was like, wow, I wasn't planning for this. This was in the budget, but I would definitely not like to spend this money.
Yeah.
But we can do that same thing. We can flip it and say, hey, listen, let's pregame some happiness.
Yeah.
Our mind is a powerful thing. Stephanie and I will plan out an activity with a lot of different layers because we know how our mind works. We know that we're going to roll over to different thoughts, and we're going to pregame this. We're going to plan every little bit of joy associated with it.
Absolutely. And planning joy is so important. And we've been instituting planning joy since we were together almost 14 years ago. And just in the different things that we have done, we have just found ways to plan joy. And Krishan always says it's essential, is what he says. Now, we're in business together. And so we live together. We're married. We're in business together. We do a lot of things together. We diet together. We do projects together. We put puzzles together. Everything we do together. And he always says it's essential to plan joy, and of course to plan joy within the budget. That's really important.
What I mean by that, if you're doing business with your significant other, if they have agreed to go on this rocky road with you, the bad waves are going to come. You might as well plan in some good stuff because this can be a long journey. And over time, it can be more like a task. But if you plan in those good times, like for example, my hobby is cinematography and photography. Now, I'm not going to go out there every day and buy a lens or a new camera. That stuff is costly. But if I tell myself, okay, this is the plan. This is the first benchmark. When I achieve that benchmark, I'm going to get myself that new lens. Then on the way, I'm like, man, when I get that new lens, I'm going to be able to take this shot and do this shot and do this kind of cinematography and this kind of photography. And you got to do the same thing for your significant other. You have to identify the things that she likes. And allow her to have that same joy. Like for example, what are some of the things that you pregame on?
Well, basically, I have like different hobbies and things of that nature, but I like my YouTube channel, and I like to basically pour all of my creativeness into that. And I like finding articles on different ways to edit and different ways to story tell, and, finding different creative ways to kind of push my channel and push my craft and my skills onto the next level. And I do a lot of research and reading and video watching, and I do a lot of YouTube too, and just that really just brings me joy because it allows me to learn something new, and it just kind of takes me away. Have you guys ever just kind of visualized things in your mind and just kind of takes you off planet Earth and into La La Land? And that's how I really feel about when I go into my mind and just really researching the things that I really love to do, especially when it comes to editing and video production. And that's how I find joy. That's one of the ways I find joy in this process. And
it works. Trust me. Like when we plan our vacations out. It'll be months before the vacation happens. And she'd be like, well, let's look at excursions. I want to do this. Let's watch a YouTube video on this. Let's research this. Let's look at this one. Research. And by the time the trip has actually happened, we probably had weeks, if not months, of joy associated with just thinking about the event that's about to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And in business, you have to do that. You have to say, okay, even though I've achieved nothing, when I do achieve this, this is how I'm going to celebrate. Trust me, it'll change your outlook 100%. Because let me be the one to tell you, there's going to be many occasions to where you're sitting there at that laptop like, oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
What am I going to do?
Oh, yeah.
How did this happen? How did I overlay? You're beating yourself up. You're rolling it back in your mind. And you're pulling back every little details. Make sure you take those joyous occasions and do the same thing.
And I want to mention, my next thing I want to mention is the burnout is real.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Krishan had me on this project. This was when I first was learning the business and how to work the spreadsheet. He loves spreadsheets, a spreadsheet for everything. And he was like, hey, I want you to look over these like 3,000 or 4,000 properties in the city we were looking in. And I was just like, you can't be serious, right? But, I had to jump in there and learn, and obviously I had to help. Right? As we're in this together, and it was just like all weekend long, property after property, looking and coding, color coding, and putting them into different categories. And I mean, that will burn you out. And we have to do that over and over and over again.
Monotony.
And just the other day, we had recorded 3 videos, and I accidentally deleted all 3 videos, and I literally had a meltdown. When you were a kid and you just roll around in the store kicking and screaming, and your grandma would look at you with that eye. She'd be like, what's going on here? But anyway, so I literally had a meltdown. And so he's right. It's like the burnout is real, and you've got to have something to counteract that on the other side.
Absolutely.
It's got to be something on the other side.
Absolutely. And I'm the same way. Like me, my burnout comes when we're on that long task, when we're playing the long game.
Oh, yeah.
We've bought the property, and we're systematically going through the steps necessary to achieve the final goal. And by about step 4 or 5, you're like, man, can this just be over?
Right. Yeah.
So having that goal on the back end, that tangible, something that you can hold, something you can calculate, having that in the forefront of my mind keeps you pushing forward.
Oh, yeah.
Keeps you pushing forward. It helps you to make sure that you can stay on that journey.
And planning joy is like a benchmark, right? So it's like, okay, it's like, all right, we've got this big project going on, but we're going to plan this joy down the line. And it's like a benchmark, right? So beginning, middle, end, plan joy. It's like after each different like increment, we plan some joy, and then that serves as a benchmark, right? This kind of shows us like a measurement stick, like how we're doing. And after we finish that project, we're like, okay, we're done, and now we're going to plan a little joy, and it's going to be fun.
And just to wrap it up, what we're saying is that on this journey to financial independence, there are going to be some extreme highs.
Oh, yeah.
And some extreme lows.
Yeah.
You cannot plan for all the extreme lows, but you can schedule in some extreme highs.
Oh, yeah.
So if you don't take any advice that I've given, make sure that when you're in business with your significant other, that you plan in some of those extreme highs.
And before we go, I do want to mention some of the tips that are some of the things we do to plan joy. Now, we're on a budget. We keep ourselves on a tight budget, a strict budget, and we want to make sure that we can plan joy, but within our budget. And so one of the things that we did that I really enjoyed is we went up to the mountains, and it had just snowed, maybe about 2 or 3 inches, and we just walked on the mountain. How long was it? Like a 2 or 3 mile walk we did?
Well,
it was so much fun.
It was about a 10-mile trail, but we made it about 2 miles in.
Oh, right. Yeah. We were tired because literally it was just like straight up. But it was so much fun. We got back. How long did we talk about that? Weeks. Mm-hmm. For weeks we talked about how much fun we had and the people we met on the trail. And this one lady, she was walking her dog, and he was beautiful, and things like that. We played puzzles together. We put puzzles together. Mm-hmm. We played games together. We take bike rides together. Sometimes we have a cheat day when we buy different foods and stuff that might not necessarily be on our diet. So those are the ways that we incorporate planning joy throughout our busy and hectic life. Well, we just want to thank you so much for joining us today. We really, really appreciate you just tuning in and supporting what we love doing. Don't forget, do something nice for someone today, and you can do it.
And don't forget, we're just ordinary people trying to do extraordinary things.
You got it.
Hey, everybody.
Oops, sorry, I was looking at the thing.
Oh, it's okay. Let's just swing with it.